Day 5 of consistent content. And today's inspiration is something that my wife shared with me this morning while we were eating breakfast. And it was a meme, one of those carousel memes or multi image memes that kind of tell a story but has like a profound meaning. It makes you think about stuff, and it was a almost like a cartoon because it had a picture of a cat and a skeleton, and they're having this conversation about this particular topic. And when she read it to me and showed it to me, I immediately resonated, and it made me rethink about the actual topic that it was discussing in this post. So this post was all about discipline. And the reason why it resonated with me is because I had to challenge myself to do this, creating consistent content, doing the 50-day challenges. I'm on my second one. And I have this specific relationship with the word discipline and the idea of discipline, and you might have a different relationship with it too. And sometimes the word discipline can come with a negative connotation. At least for me, it did for a while, because discipline equated to trauma, equated to not being good enough, equated to a lot of shame and guilt, specifically from my childhood. And then it kind of changed its tone as I got older, as I began to heal, as I began to become aware. And so discipline to me was a form of self-care for me to stay true to myself, to do things on a daily basis to help me get better, to help me heal, to help me become more aware. The idea and the understanding of the word discipline and how I use it has changed throughout my life. But this post actually encapsulates the whole idea so eloquently and so practically. So I'm going to show you the post right now. You can actually see it. And I want you to tell me in the comments if it made you feel some type of way, or if it changed your mind about the word discipline, or just whatever you feel about it. I'd love to know. So I'm going to bring it on screen here so you can all see it. And I'll read it off each slide, and you'll see what I'm talking about. So this first slide says, I wish I had more discipline. I keep breaking my own promises. Look at the cat. He's in this like kind of kimono, having this kind of blank stare. And then he's talking to the skeleton with the cup that says other perspective. So let's keep going here. Skeleton says, discipline isn't punishment. It's not about control. This is where it gets a bit juicy, because the skeleton is absolutely right. It's not about punishment. Like I mentioned before, I equated discipline with punishment because it brought a lot of shame and guilt. But he's saying it's not about control, which is true. Cat says, then what is it? Skeleton says, it's self respect at the highest level. It is choosing what's good for you, even when it's hard. Absolutely. That's what it's all about. Choosing yourself, even when it's hard, because we tend to people please. We tend to just do what people say without thinking about ourselves. And that's the hard part. That's about self respect. Kat says, self respect? That sounds big. How does that even connect? Right? Skeleton says, every time you follow through, you're telling yourself, I matter. You build trust within yourself. So the only reason why you don't trust yourself is because you've lost that trust, either through childhood trauma or betrayal. And many, many years of this can lead you to not trust yourself, to not trust your intuition. And that leads you down this path of not taking care of yourself, not loving yourself. Kat says, so it's not about being strict, it's about caring for myself. Exactly. Skeleton says, Exactly. The strongest form of love is action. That's what discipline is. Action. The things that you do for yourself. Cat says, still, it feels like such a long road. Sometimes I just want to give up. Absolutely right. Consistency is difficult because sometimes it just gets too much. I mean, I feel it still to this day. If I challenge myself, there are days that I don't want to do it. I just want to give up. I don't want to do anything. That's totally normal. Skeleton says, that's because you expect quick results. Most people do. Now raise your hand if you expect quick results. Get rich quick, quick healing, quick answers, quick outcomes. That's what we all want, but it doesn't work that way. Then the cat says, isn't that normal though? We want to see change now. He has a point. Most of us do want to see change now, but on the flip side, most of us fear change. Skeleton says, I used to think that way too until I heard this years ago from my master. People won't dedicate 3 years to building their own dream, but they'll spend 40 years building someone else's. Come on, let that sink in for a little bit. Just reread that, let it sink in, let it go into your mental, feel it into your body, and let me know in the comments how that made you feel. Because when I read that, I definitely felt something. And most of it was gratitude because I was in that situation for a long time, working in corporate and just slaving away. And it wasn't good for me, my family, anything. Then the cat says, that hits hard like a ton of bricks. And then the skeleton says, it hit me too. And it made me ask, which road is really harder, 3 years of focus or 40 years of regret? Let's say that one more time. Which road is really harder, 3 years of focus or 40 years of regret? Like 40 years of time passing by, not living, not chasing your dreams. And at the end of that, you're going to look back at your life and say, what the heck was I doing? Where did all the time go? And the cat says, so you're saying discipline and patience go hand in hand. Exactly. Then skeleton says, yes, patience isn't about waiting. It's about working while it takes time. It's all about working because you're doing what you love and you're living and you're not doing it for anyone else but yourself. Cat then says, but what if I give 3 years and I still fail? That's also a fear. The fear of failure, but also the fear of success. What if you do make it? What if it takes less than 3 years to chase your dreams? That could be an outcome too. And Skeleton says, then you'll be further ahead than if you never tried. Failure teaches what waiting never will. Another golden nugget here. It's never about failure, it's about lessons. What have you learned about yourself throughout the journey? What are you going to implement? What are you going to do different? Nothing is about failure because you always understand something deeper about yourself as you're trying to live the best life or working towards your dream. Things will come up, but how did you handle it? How you get to the point where you feel like you are successful? Some people even say, even if you did fail, the success is in the journey of it all because of what they realize about themselves. Then the cat says, so doing nothing is worse than failing? Hilton says, always. Regret weighs more than effort. Let that sink into. Regret weighs more than effort. How many of you regret not doing things because it might have been just a little bit too hard or it took a little bit of effort, but you didn't do it? You didn't try. That's what Skeleton is saying. Regret weighs more than effort. Then the cat says, it just feels like so much to carry. And he's right. When you have big dreams, you have big responsibilities, you have big actions that you have to take. including all the small ones. And that could feel really heavy. Skeleton says, only if you see it as a burden. It's not punishment, it's building the life you want, piece by piece. That's the key. Piece by piece. Baby steps. You're not going to get all of it at once. Big dreams take small steps, and all those steps count and matter until you get to that point. And when you get to that point, you look back and you'll understand that each step mattered the way you were supposed to take it. You'll become aware of how important just that, even that small decision or that small step equated to where you are today or where you want to be as far as pursuing your dreams or the life that you want. Cat says, and the price? What's the price? Skeleton says, consistency and care. You respect yourself enough to show up even on the hard days. This is another nugget. And notice he says, you respect yourself enough. How many of you have lied to yourself over and over and over? Sabotage yourself to not do something because you were too lazy or you gave yourself excuses. I did that many times. I am totally guilty. But if you respect yourself enough, you will show up, even on the days that you don't want to. That's when it matters most. And that's what shows you how much you've grown. If you can do it on the tough days. And the cat says, so discipline isn't about being harsh, it's about believing I'm worth the effort. Great question. Are you worth the effort? Do you believe in yourself enough and have enough self respect that you can put in the effort? Because your dreams require effort, it requires action. And that's the highest form of love, right? Action. Skeleton says, exactly, because you are. And that's the end. So it's about discipline, it's about action, it's about self respect. When you want to go for your dreams, when you want to have the life that you want to live, are you having this different perspective about discipline? And when I read this, it was more of gratitude and confirmation for me because I align and resonate with this. I didn't start out like this. I had to learn the hard way, trial and error, and a lot of mistakes, uh, a lot of healing and awareness that finally got to me to this point for me where I can honestly say that I have a lot of self-respect because I am able to tell myself to put in the effort, even when it's tough. And I know that me doing these little small actions will lead to something bigger as far as my goals and my dreams, not just for me, but also for my family. Let me know in the comments what you think about this. Send it to someone you care about if they really need to hear this. And if you haven't liked or subscribed, please do so. And I will see you on day number 6.